This was some buzz to come in and face this man and you know, so many doubters, so many, it's never gonna happen. Like, even thinking it's never gonna happen. Remember that time.
2017 was a year of historic fights. Canelo versus Triple G. Joshua versus Klitschko. Bisping versus GSP. All the biggest names in combat came out to fight, but none could compare to the fight no one thought was even possible. Floyd Money Mayweather versus the notorious Conor McGregor.
I think it's a load of shit, if I'm honest. And the reason I swear is because Mayweather's one of the best fighters ever walked the planet. But he's a boxer, he's a pugilist. Conor McGregor is not.
For boxing purists like multiple-time super middleweight champ Carl Froch, just the idea of seeing an MMA fighter make his boxing debut against the biggest name in the sport was an insult to the game. It wasn't a fight, it was a money grab.
Mayweather and McGregor, you know and I know. You don't have to be on our side. Be on boxing side.
This is big commercial show, big, business event. It's not boxing.
You know, boxing is boxing and MMA is MMA. They're two separate sports. And it would be a joke, it would be an embarrassment for boxing if an MMA fighter were to go into the ring. It would be a no contest.
I mean, I think Oscar De La Hoya needs to focus. I think he needs to go to rehab.
But for every Bernard Hopkins, Gennady Golovkin, and Oscar De La Hoya, there was an Andre Ward, Amir Khan, and Amanda Nunes. Excited to see what would happen if such a fight could take place.
No, I think it's going to be, a tremendous spectacle.
It puts boxing on the map where it needs to be.
I think it's going to be huge,
This impossible bout between the retired boxing great and the UFC's biggest star had the whole world talking. It was a dream that couldn't possibly happen, until all of a sudden, it could.
Conor McGregor, stop blowing smoke up everybody's ass. If you want to fight, let's make the fight happen. Yeah! I'm officially, today, I'm not retired, I'm out of retirement for Conor McGregor.
McGregor isn't known for backing down, especially when there's this much money on the line, but he couldn't sign yet. He was contractually signed to the UFC, and there was no way UFC President Dana White would want to risk his star attraction losing a fight, or worse, getting injured. But as Mayweather knows, money talks, and the once reluctant White soon changed his mind.
This is a fight that I actually resisted in the beginning. But this thing, between the media and the fans, that's how this fight was built. And you know how I am. I love giving people the fights they want to see. This is one of them, so let's do it.
And just like that, the impossible fight was on. The unbeaten Floyd Mayweather Jr. would defend his 49-0 record against the UFC champ Conor McGregor in his boxing debut. It was destined to be epic, both inside and out of the ring.
This is not just a fight. This is an event.
Mayweather versus McGregor was official, but before the event even began, the two were attacking one another around the globe on the money tour.
You going out on your face or you going out on your back? Now, which way you want to go?
You're 40 years of age. Dress your age.
You punk! You
He's in a tracksuit. He can't even afford a suit anymore.
The world was hooked, the fight was set, and everyone had an opinion on how it would go down, including those in the combat community.
Can Conor McGregor beat Floyd Mayweather in a boxing match? Not a hope in hell.
Anything is possible when two men get into an octagon or a ring and start throwing punches.
And I just don't think Conor McGregor's got the boxing intelligence that Floyd has.
Floyd Mayweather will win.
Despite being 40, shorter, lighter, and not having fought in over 2 years, Mayweather was the clear favorite because this was boxing. He's one of the greatest of all time. And while Conor is good on his feet, he wasn't going to be in the octagon.
I think everyone expected Mayweather to win, but I personally did not expect McGregor to be that competitive, especially in the first rounds. He showed beautiful boxing skills. He followed all the rules. It was very clean boxing. It was hard to imagine that would come from a UFC fighter, a cage fighter. We didn't expect that, but he did really well.
Floyd Mayweather Jr. won the money fight by a 10th round TKO in a bout that was much more entertaining than many expected, because McGregor gave Mayweather the hardest test he'd had in years.
It was a good fight. Thought I smoked him the early rounds. I thought I'd bust you up the early rounds, but I tell you what, you're one composed individual. You didn't get rattled. You tucked in when you needed to tuck in. I thought you switched up your game plan 3 times.
In 9 of Floyd Mayweather's fights, where it went 12 rounds, his opponents hit him with less than 100 punches. Conor hit him with 111 in less than 10 rounds. So it was a great fight. I'm really proud of Conor.
But in the end, Floyd Mayweather's final fight went the same way they always did, with his hand raised high and him talking about money.
If I see an opportunity to make 350 million in 36 minutes, why not? I had to do it, but this is the last one. You guys have my word.